Welcome everyone. Today I'm very much excited for this particular live stream. In this live stream, I'm coming to answer a lot of questions. So, before we start, tell me where you are. And is it your first time to come across to my YouTube channel? If so, please let me know on the comment or on the live chat here that today is your first time you have come to my YouTube channel. And if it's your first time, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel before we continue. In this live stream, I'm going to have a series of important questions people have been asking me over and over. So I compiled the list of these questions. So before you go down there on the comment on the live stream and put your question, listen to me, watch, and if I haven't answered any question, go there and ask that particular questions. But before you go and asking any question, just understand that I'm going to answer your question because maybe you or someone else has already asked this question previously. So in order to make sure that you have the higher chances of winning the Diversity Visa Lottery, I decided before the lottery starts, I want to go ahead and put the list of questions answering the most frequent questions. Questions might be on eligibility, questions might be on the tricks, questions about the mistakes, questions about what if you are married, what if you don't have the marriage certificate, what if you don't have the birth certificate, what if. So a lot of questions you have in your mind so that you can have a successful application for the Diversity Visa Lottery, I'm going to answer today. So go and click the like button of this particular video. By clicking the like button of this particular video, you are forcing the YouTube algorithm to recommend my YouTube videos to others. That's number one. Number two, just forward this message, just forward this email, just forward this particular link to so many other people, or tag them so that they can be in a position to know the correct information about applying for the upcoming Diversity Visa Lottery. By sharing the information to others, you are not going to stop them, or they are not going to stop you from winning. If God wants you to win, you will win. But don't have the jealousy of not sharing the information by fearing that many people will continue to apply. No, share to others. By sharing, you get more blessing. That's how God is going to bless you more. And if it's your time to win, you will win no matter how many million people are going to apply for the Diversity Visa Lottery. This is Ernest Boniface Makulilo, EBM. In case you do not know about the EBMSCHOLARS, this is the headquarters of information and opportunities which you usually share. Information about green card lottery, information about overall immigration, how to move from one country to another, how to succeed as immigrant in whatever country you are going. There are some basics on how you can go, whether be it in the United States, be it Canada, Europe, any country of Europe, Australia, New Zealand, China, whatever country you want to go, there are basics on how you can start your life as immigrant in any country you go so that you can be able to succeed. Myself, in case you do not know me, I have to introduce myself. As I said, my name is Ernest Boniface Makulilo, EBM, and I'm talking to you from my home office here in Belton, Missouri, United States of America. I've been in the United States for over 13 years now, and I came to the United States back in 2008 through the prestigious scholarship to come to teach Swahili language in African culture. From there, I got another scholarship. Then I finished my master's at the University of San Diego. Then I got married. I got a green card through marriage. Then I got citizenship through working or joining the United States Navy. If you join the US military, you'll have the opportunity to be the citizen right away instead of waiting the number of years. If it's 5 years for any type of green card, and the 3 years if you get a green card through marriage. So that is a little bit about me. So for that particular case, I didn't win the green card lottery, but I know a lot about the green card lottery because I've invested my time for over 15 years to explain to people on how to go about it and how to apply. And I know so many people who have won, and some they have won, they have done some mistakes, and those kind of mistakes costed them a lot to not be given the visas. So this particular live stream is going to guide you not to make any mistakes. That means you might win, but still be denied the visa. This live stream, these type of questions are going to guide you so that you cannot make a mistake, because you can be rejected right away, not go into the second time or the second phase of the selection process, because once you apply, there is a software is going to make sure that you meet the eligibility, and especially if you make any mistake, the software can eliminate right away, not taking you to the pool of selection. So don't get a technical knockout. Okay, I'm talking too much. Let me stop from there, and I'm going to answer all the questions. Okay, let me start with the questions. If you have a question, listen to me very careful. Then after this, or in the middle of this video, you can go ahead and start adding your questions. We have been talking about green card lottery over and over. But there are so many people who don't understand or have no clue what is green card lottery and why is it important. So I want to break down to you just a very high level summary of what is green card and what is green card lottery. When we talk about green card is a nickname, is the official nickname of the word permanent resident or permanent residency status in the United States of America. Each country in the world has permanent residency status, but in the United States, that status is also referred to green card, and the person who is a resident with a permanent residency status is called a green card holder. Why? Simply because the card is green, so they call green card. There are so many ways one person can get a green card or can become a permanent resident of the United States. One can be through marriage. I got my green card through marriage. Some people, they get through employment. There are some people get through family sponsorship, not just marriage. Maybe, for instance, I'm a US citizen now, I can sponsor my mother, I can sponsor my father, you can sponsor some siblings. So there are people get green card through other ways of family sponsorship. There are also some people who get green card or become permanent resident through refugee, through religious ways, and another way is through the lottery system, which is called the green card lottery or the diversity visa lottery, in short DV program or the DV lottery. Why the United States is the only country on the planet Earth with this particular program of diversity visa, or the way of giving green card to thousands of people around the world to come to America through a lottery means. Because if you go to Canada, they have different type of immigration system. There is no lottery system, only the United States. Why the United States decided to introduce the diversity visa lottery? So first and foremost, you have to understand that United States depends on the diversity as the strength of this particular country. That means when you have people from all over the world, because everybody in the United States came to the United States at one point of their lives, whether your great-great-grandfather came or great-great-grandmother came back in 1800 or came 1900, it doesn't matter when, but everybody came here at one point of their life. The only people who are natives here are the natives, already Indians, who are here, which is the total population is not more than 6 million. So everybody else up to 400 million came to the United States from one corner of this planet Earth. So there are some countries have less representation in the United States. So the United States government created something called high admission countries and low admission countries. High admission countries are countries with immigrants, a lot of immigrants compared to other countries in the United States in the last 5 years. How do they determine these countries with high immigrants or high admission countries? So let me define for you the term immigrant in a legal and in the legal perspective and immigration of the United States, how immigrant is perceived. There are people who are immigrants and there are people who are not immigrants. Immigrants are people with the immigrant visa. And the people who are not immigrant are the one without immigrant visa. That means they have what we call non-immigrant visa. So if you come to the United States, from day one, you have been given the immigrant visa. That means you are coming to America to stay here on a permanent basis. You are becoming immigrant. So immigrant person is the person, the first and foremost, has a green card or is a permanent resident of the United States. So if you come, for instance, you have won the DV lottery, you are immigrant. If you are given the permanent residence based on the family, based on the job, you are immigrant. But if you come here on what we call non-immigrant visa, that means it's the visa on temporary basis. You come to study in America. Once if you come to study here, you are studying maybe PhD for 5 years. The expectation is after your studies, you will be going back to your home country. If you come for visiting, you expect to go back to your home country. But if you get married and you become permanent resident, you are not expected to go back to your home country. You are becoming immigrant. You are becoming permanent of the United States of America. So, when we say number of immigrants, we are looking at the people who are permanent resident. And we are looking at the permanent resident into two categories. Those immigrants or people who got green card based on what we call the green card by family. Whether you got married, whether your father, your mother, your spouse, whatever is going to sponsor, or a child is sponsoring the parent, that is number one. And another category is green card by employment or by work. So, if in the last 5 years, country A has over 50,000 people who have been given a green card through marriage or through family, or a type of family green card, or through work, if they have more than 50,000 threshold, if let's say they have 55,000, in the last 5 years, that country is removed from the lottery. And by being removed, it doesn't mean that it is permanent. If at one point that country is going to have the numbers going to decrease to be less than 50,000, that country is going to be brought back to the diversity visa lottery. So each year in the middle of September, between September 15th to September 20th, around that particular time, the Department of State is working with the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services, who are the one determining, the Homeland Security are the one determining to count how many people have been given a green card based on the family or based on the work. If the country is above 50,000, that country is called the high admission country, is removed. The countries with low admission, with less than 50,000 people with a green card in that 5 years, that country is considered a low admission country and is going to be participating into the diversity visa lottery. So the list is updating each year, is going to be updating. For the particular year of 2023 and beyond, there are things we'll be able to change. We'll be able to see countries which have been removed before are going to be brought back. Why? Because when they started to do what we call the higher admission, in the year 2020, from the month of April, to be exactly on the April 22nd, the number of visas, they were stopped immigration. There was immigration suspension from that particular time to mid of June 24th, then June 24th, it was up to the end of December 2020, then the suspension extended until March 2021. For that particular case, what happened, for over 1 year, there were no visas or no green card issued to people because of the pandemic and immigration suspension. For that particular case, we'll be able to see, when we count 5 years, we'll see the year going from 2020 to 2021, because no countries were given the green card through marriage, through family, or through employment. We'll be able to see the number of the countries with higher admission will be decreased. At the moment, only Nigeria in Africa and some few other countries, they are not eligible. So these countries, there is a possibility to be brought back into the lottery application. So that is the green card and how they are going to determine which country is going to be eligible and which country is not eligible to participate in the diversity visa lottery. After that, why should you apply for the diversity visa lottery? What makes it so important for you to be able to apply for the diversity visa lottery? It is because if you win the diversity visa lottery, this is the easiest way to get the green card. The other ways you have to get married, the other way you have to be very educated, get a good job, and you have to impress your employer to sponsor you. Or you have to be having some fear of persecutions and other reasons why you can be given asylum, you can be given refugee status and being a green card holder. But through lottery, you can sit on your computer at your own home and put the application form using a phone, take a picture and win and come to America. Otherwise, you cannot be able to do that. So, number one, the process of applying is the easiest way. We'll talk about the eligibility, about education, work experience, and other things, but it's the easiest way. So, if you win, you get the opportunity to become a permanent resident. By being a permanent resident, what are the advantages? Number one, you will never again ask for the visa to come to America. If you are in the US and you travel abroad or any other country, you want to come back to America, you don't go to the US embassy and ask for the visa, which is a big relief for many people. Then, once you are here in the United States, you don't need to ask for the work authorization to get another job. Because if you are a student, for instance, you must be having authorization. Your social security number will say with DHS authorization. That means you will be only employed with the Department of Homeland Security authorization. Your social security will be indicating that. But if you're a green card holder or a US citizen, you are allowed to work to any employer. Obviously, it will be difficult to get the federal government jobs because most of them, they require citizenship. But majority of the jobs, you'll be able to work. You don't have limitation of hours. If you're an international student, you're allowed to work 20 hours per week on campus. If school is closed, you can work off campus. It's okay. But if you are out of the status, you're not allowed to work. If you have H1 visa, which is a working visa, you have to work only to that particular employer. If you lose that job, the visa goes away. You cannot be allowed to have 2 jobs and to work another job. So there are so many other restrictions on any other type of visas. But once you are a green card holder, you don't have that restriction. You can work to any employer you want for no matter how many hours. You can have 2 or 3 jobs if you want. So that is something you need to understand, another advantage. While you are here, apart from working, you can go to school, you can invest, you can do so many things with that particular card. Is live and work, do business in America without restrictions, like if you come as international student or any just a visitor. So there are so many advantages, but there are some people I know, they say, oh, I'm already established in my own country. I have a good job, I have a big business, I have chickens, I have cows, I do business, I do farming. Why should I apply for the diversity visa lottery? Sometimes it's not about us. Sometimes it's about our children, our grandchildren. How are we going to give them the opportunities? So if you apply, you win. You are not required to, you must live in America. You can come and live in America, stay for a month, 2 months, go back to your home country. Then you come for vacation, you'll be coming and going back as long as you maintain. Maybe within 6 months you have to be here at least even for 1 day or 2 days, then disappear if you want. Or if you want to live for more than a year and whatever, you have to fill the advance parole form that you are out of America for a certain particular time. But nowadays there are so many countries with dual citizenship. So after 5 years, if you want to become a citizen, you can do that. Unless otherwise your country like Tanzania doesn't have dual citizenship, you can be able to consider whether you want to become a citizen or not. So there's an opportunity, even if you say you stay in your country, your children can have opportunity to study here, to fly and come here and start working instead of starting finding how can I go to Europe, how can I get to America? They are already a US citizen or they are already a green card holder. You are giving them the opportunity. You can have green card, you and your spouse, and while your spouse is pregnant, you get into the flight, you come in America, the child is born in America, the child have US citizenship and the citizenship of your country, that life can be able to continue. So you have to find how this one can play on your own advantage. It is an opportunity. So I encourage you to apply. I encourage you to share this information to others so that they can also apply for these particular opportunities. So that is one of the reasons why you need to apply for this particular opportunity, which is green card lottery. No other country on planet Earth has the diversity visa lottery, a randomly selection, a free of charge application. Obviously, if you win, there are some payments. We'll talk about the payments, but I'm talking just the application process is free of charge. So don't worry, I will guide you step by step. Make sure that you apply in a correct way. If you win, you can have a guarantee of being given the visa, so that you cannot do everything and don't get the visa at all. If you have any question, continue to put on the comment here while I'm continue answering the following questions. The application for the diversity visa lottery is starting on the first week or the first 10 days of the month of October until the first week or the first 10 days of the month of November. Why is it in that particular time? Because the end of September 30th is the end of the government year, the end of the fiscal year. So the new year in the government sense in the United States start on October 1st. So usually on the first 10 days is the new year. So that's when the diversity visa lottery starts, and the application usually goes within 35 days of the lottery application. There is only one website to apply for the diversity visa lottery: www.diversityvisa DV program, which is DV standing for the diversity visa. So www.dvprogram.state.gov. DV stands for the diversity visa. As we know, we are talking about the diversity visa lottery, which is a program. So it's DV program. .state. The word state is, it means the Department of State. Then .gov, G-O-V, stands for the United States government. If you go to any website and that website doesn't have the word G-O-V as the domain, as the suffix at the end of any website, my friend, you are in the wrong particular website. You are going to be scammed. That is a fake website. Make sure you apply using the correct website: www.dvprogram.state.gov. Any website without the suffix .com, that is a fake website. Any website ending with .com, .net, .org, and they have what they call the application for the diversity visa lottery, my friend, you are in the wrong website. The diversity visa lottery application is free of charge. If you go to any other website, they will tell you to pay. Even if it will be $1, but you are told to pay, that means you are in the wrong website. It is different from if you ask an individual to help to apply on the correct website. I'm talking if you go to those surface.org, whatever, greencard.com, whatever, any other website, and there's the application form. We are going to guarantee you how to win. Nobody is going to guarantee you. Only God is the guarantor, is the one guaranteeing you. United States government doesn't partner with anybody to apply for the diversity visa lottery. If you pay on MasterCard, Visa card, Western Union, you are going to be scammed. And if you apply the green card lottery in any other month, exception of the October time, through the official government website, you are in the fake website, you are going to be scammed. So you have to be very careful with the scammers. You have to be careful with the fraud. Will take your money. They will tell you, guarantee you. Someone, I was live one day on the live stream. The person has paid over $700 to be guaranteed to get green card, and they are sending them the information that you have won and all other kind of things, and came to realize that I broke the news that you have been scammed. It's not true. You cannot, nobody is going to apply for you and you're going to win and they tell you whatever those crazy website. No. If you apply through the website, the government website, www.dvprogram.state.gov, when the results come out, the results, you have to check the results through the same website you are using to apply. The results you'll be able to see, to check the results through the government website. No any other ways you can be able to check the results. You have to go to the exact website you used to apply, dvprogram.state.gov, and enter the information. What information do you need to use to check the results? You need to have the confirmation number. We'll talk more about the confirmation number. It's the number which you get it when you finish applying. Secondly, you need to enter the year of birth. Thirdly, you need to enter the last name. By last name is the name before comma. Don't put the comma. Any name before the comma, when you apply, you check your results, or check the results. For instance, it will be Makulilo, comma, Ernest Boniface. That will be, Makulilo will be my last name. So, for that particular case, if you receive an email that you have won the DV lottery, it's fake, it is a scam. The Department of State doesn't inform people they have won the green card lottery through the email. And they don't have that any plan. It's not their job. It is your job to go to the website and check if you have won the DV lottery. That's why the usual offer, or they select more than 55,000 people. The visas are 55,000, but there are so many people who don't check the results. There are so many people who don't, or they die, or they lose the confirmation number. They do not know how to check it, to retrieve the confirmation number. So for that particular case, their system is over. So for instance, in the DV 2021, they selected 133,000 winners. In the DV 2022, they selected 119,000 winners. There are so many people who are not able to check the results. There are so many people who will be denied the visas. So don't make mistakes to be the winner among those one and go there to lose the interview. Remember, someone with a high case number will be praying for you to be denied the visa. Because once you be denied the visa, the people with high case number is when they get interview. So it's your responsibility to make sure that when you apply, you don't make a mistake. So you need to follow this guidance so that you cannot be the victim. Don't take the words of just someone, let's say, is at the kiosk, internet cafe. Oh, just come and add your children later. Let me apply for you quick, because they want to apply. Because if you are single or unmarried, it is easier because it's just a quick application. But if you are married, they have to add the information about your spouse. If you have three children, you have to add the 3 children. So that takes a longer application. So they will tell you, oh, you'll come to add all these kind of people later. In the end, you are doing a lot of mistakes. So you need to have the guidance, you know everything, so that even if you ask someone to help you, they do on what you want them to add into the DV lottery application form. So all in all, make sure that you apply on the correct website. All in all, make sure you use the correct website. The website is on the description of this video. The website is on the comment. And no matter what, any website without .gov, .government at the end, that is fake. That's not the correct website to apply for the diversity visa lottery. Let's go to another question. Let's go and analyze what other things you need to consider to make sure that you make a proper application to guarantee winning, and if you win, to guarantee a way of getting the visa without being denied despite of winning. We know now we are in the technology time. Cell phone, tablet, so many devices you can be able to use with the internet. But when you are applying for the diversity visa lottery, people want to know, and this every year I get thousands of questions. Can I use my cell phone to apply for the diversity visa lottery? Or what devices am I allowed to use to apply for the diversity visa lottery? Or which devices are better, give me more chances of winning than other devices? If I use laptop, is it better than desktop? If I use a desktop, is it better than cell phone? If I use a tablet, is it tablet better than cell phone? Or is cell phone better than tablet? Or is iPhone better than Samsung? Or Samsung better than Techno? What devices are you allowed to use to apply for the diversity visa lottery? That is a very solid question. With that question, it will help you to determine where should you go to do the application. Should you connect the Wi-Fi, use this phone to connect as a hotspot to your computer, laptop at home, or should you go to the internet cafe and connect and use at the internet cafe? Which device are you allowed to use to apply for the diversity visa lottery? So, in order to answer that question properly, we have to revisit the green card lottery instructions. In the instructions, when the diversity visa lottery started back in the day, it used to be a paper application. But nowadays, it is online application. So the application for the diversity visa lottery is online. It is online through one website only, dvprogram.state.gov, www.dvprogram.state.gov. So, the United States government, or rather the Department of State, doesn't care at all what device you are using to access that website. If you use a cell phone, it's up to you. You use a tablet, it's up to you. You use desktop computer, is up to you. Use a laptop, is up to you. They don't care what device you are using. What you need to have is internet connection, which is a better internet connection. That's why many people prefer to apply during the night, because the internet is a little bit faster compared to the other time of the day. So for that particular case, there is no any advantage. What I can say is sometimes when you go to the internet cafe, they might have a stronger internet than your Techno internet. Connecting, maybe you are using Safaricom internet, you are using Tigo. For those people in Tanzania, you are using Orange or Celtel, or we call whatever, MTN in Uganda. I don't know what company you are using to access the internet. But as long as you have internet, you can upload, you can do everything. But something you need to understand is this one. When you are applying, make sure you already have the photo in the proper measurements. Make sure you have the passport already there. Make sure you have all the information ready. Not like when you are filling the application form with your phone or the tablet or the laptop, then you are running. Ooh, let me go to the room to go and find the computer. I mean, to find my passport. Oh, I haven't edited the photo. Let me edit the photo. Have everything ready. So if it is on the phone, everything is already on the phone. You can upload it from your phone. If it's on the tablet, you have everything on the tablet. If you are using a desktop computer, you already have computer there. If you are using the overall, you are using the any device you are using, make sure that everything is ready to go. Because when you are filling that form, even if they say you have 30 minutes, if you are there is inactive, there is no any activity going on for 15-30 minutes, it disappears, the information. But usually tell people after 5 to 10 minutes, because there are so many people accessing that website, you'll be having the difficulties. If you click next or you click submit, it will say the page cannot be found, or there is an error or something like that, because you are spending so much minutes to fill that particular form. So, my advice I usually tell people over and over, apply on your own. You are the expert of your name. If you go to the internet cafe, there is likelihood someone can mess up your spelling. For instance, my name is Ernest Boniface Makulilo. Some people, even in my family, they put their name, they put Boniface with P-H-A-C-E, but for me, or there are some people in my family, they use Boniface, F-A-C-E, like face. So if you go to the internet cafe or the cyber, someone will assume Boniface is pronounced this way or is written this way, and can put what is thinking instead of what is written on the passport. But you are the one who is the expert of your name. The DV lottery application is the easiest form, as long as you want to take it just 10 minutes to fill that form. So yes, you are allowed to use the cell phone. Yes, you are allowed to use the tablet. Yes, you are allowed to use desktop. Yes, you are allowed to use laptop. Yes, you are allowed to go to the internet cafe or to the cyber. Yes, you are allowed to use to apply at your own home. As long as you have good internet, you can be able to do that. And if you apply, whether it is your home, whether through internet cafe, cyber, whether it is through the phone, whatever device you are using, if you submit the application, it will say you in bolded green words, success. That means you have successfully submitted your DV application. And after the word success, it will give you the information. It will tell you the confirmation number, it will give you the signature ID, it will give you the last name, then it will give you the year of birth. All those information will be there. And then they will say print out. But you don't need to print. The purpose of print is to have that information. What I tell you, don't write with your pen. Take a screenshot, take a picture of that one, because if you write with a pen, there is likelihood you can go and make a mistake of O with a 0, I with 1, all those kind of things. But take a picture, take that picture, send it to your own email, take that picture, send it to your own, or send to your close friend to have that one, the person you trust. That means you cannot lose it. Or print out and then take it and put with your certificates, with your passport. That means you know for sure you cannot be able to lose it. So that is application, and that's how you can do application. It doesn't matter what device you have. What matters is the internet connection, a little bit high speed or good internet. That's why many people are applying during the night. So don't be told people, oh, if you apply midnight or at 12 or 3, that's when you win. No, it's because there is good internet, because many people in your country are sleeping. But while it is midnight in your country, it is afternoon in the US, or it is morning in Australia. So it doesn't matter where you are for that particular case. So what matters is for you to be able to apply regardless. As long as you have good internet, it doesn't matter what device are you able to use to apply. So you are now ready to apply for the Diversity Visa Lottery. One of the things, number one, is to see if you are eligible. Is your country eligible to apply for the Diversity Visa Lottery? Why am I saying that way? Because the participation, the eligibility of you being allowed to apply for the Diversity Visa Lottery lies on the country of eligibility, which is the country of birth. Regardless of the current citizenship status. Let me give you an example. Assume you are Kenyan, born in Kenya. Then with life you moved to Canada. You became Canadian by citizenship. Canada is not allowed to apply for the Diversity Visa Lottery. But you are Canadian who was not born in Canada. You are Canadian who was born in Kenya. So you'll be allowed to apply as Kenyan by country of birth, regardless of citizenship. So on the Diversity Visa application, there will be a question. What is your country of birth? Question number 5, if not mistaken. You'll put country of birth. You'll put a place of birth. Place of birth in Kenya, place of birth wherever. Very few countries are not eligible. And they have been talking about the reason why those countries are not eligible is because they are considered as higher admission countries. That means in the last 5 years, those countries, the citizens of those countries have been given green card through either through family, whether it be marriage, family sponsorship through parents, through children sponsoring the parents. So it can be through that way or through work. If the country has over 50,000 people who have been given green card through family or through work sponsorship, that country is eliminated, is removed from the Diversity Visa Lottery in the last 5 years. If that country number goes down, that country is going to be returned back to the application because it's considered now as low admission country. So you have to figure out if your country is eligible, which majority of countries are eligible at the moment. And even those which countries are being considered as high admission will be returned back, because for the last year, from March or April 2020 to March 2021, there are no immigration. There was immigration suspension, meaning people are not given green card at all. So for that particular case, it has affected for number of threshold of 50,000 for those higher admission countries. So let's say you are eligible. That's number one. But last week, why am I insisting this one? Because last week I was talking to one person who was born in Kenya, but currently lives in South Africa. The mistake the person did, this is a very good question you have to see. Put your address, put where you live now, and put where you were born. So those are questions which are controversial to some people. You are born in Kenya or you are born in Tanzania. Let's say right now you live in Sudan, or right now you live in Ghana. So if you live in Sudan or live in Ghana, it doesn't mean that you are a citizen or you are born in Ghana. So the question will be, what country? Place and the country of birth. So we put the place of birth, Kisumu, Kenya. That's the place of birth. Then question number 6 is very important. Are you claiming the eligibility based on the country of birth? Question number 6. The answer is yes or no. I'm repeating. Question number 6 of the diversity visa lottery. When you are filling the form, are you claiming the eligibility of the diversity visa based on the country of birth? Your answer is supposed to be yes or no. So, if your country is eligible, automatically you are claiming eligibility based on the country of birth. The only reason you cannot claim the country of birth, assume, let's say you are from country A. Country A is not eligible, and you are married to a citizen of country B. The citizen of country B you are married to, that person, the country is eligible. So you can claim the eligibility based on the country of birth of your spouse. But the person put a mistake when they say, are you claiming the eligibility based on the country of birth? In most of you, the answer is supposed to be yes. If you are born in Kenya, no matter where you are, if you're born in Ghana, no matter where you are, whether you live in the US, whether you live in Canada, whether you live in Afghanistan, whatever country you live, you still apply as Kenyan based on the country of birth, regardless of your citizenship of that particular status. I know that some people are refugees, or they were refugees in Congo, but they are Rwandese. I know so many people from Rwanda and Burundi were born in Tanzania. When you apply for the diversity visa lottery, the country of eligibility is the country of birth, regardless of now. So the person made a mistake. So when they say, are you claiming the eligibility based on the country of birth, the person assumed it is the country where you live now. So put the South Africa saying no, and put the country where the person lives. That was the huge mistake, because you have put the country of eligibility. When you win, you are no longer winning as Kenyan, or you are not winning as Ugandan, you are winning from as another country. According to the instructions, when you put the wrong country of eligibility, that's why you have to be very careful. When you ask even the country of birth, your country of birth is Kenya. Below Kenya there is Kiribati. Or the country of birth, let's say the country will be Somalia, then South Sudan, or Somalia, and maybe whatever, South Korea. South Sudan, South Korea. By mistake, you put South Korea instead of South Sudan in your country. If you win, you will be denied the visa. According to the instruction, they can feel sorry for you. They can, maybe it depends, but according to the instruction, putting a wrong of chargeability, putting the wrong country of eligibility is automatically denial of you being given the visa. So you have to make sure that the question number, each question has a very big meaning in the diversity visa lottery. So when you are asked, where were you born? Make sure, apart from the city, you can put a wrong city, that's not a big deal. But the country, you cannot put a wrong country. The city can be different. For instance, I'm giving an example. You were born in Kenya. But in Kenya, you were born in Kibera. But when you go to the birth certificate cannot say Kibera. It will say Nairobi. Or the birth certificate can say you were born in Kibera. It's okay. But when you go to get the passport is not going to put the individual smaller area you are born. It's going to put the bigger city or the bigger town where you are born. So instead of putting Kibera, will say Nairobi. They are not going to put you are born in Buguruni, Dar es Salaam. They will say you are born in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. You see what I mean? They're not going to put the tiny street in Cape Town. They'll put Cape Town. That's where you are born in South Africa. So that is something you need to understand. You can put a wrong city. That will be okay. But remember, the city of birth, regardless where you believe you were born, it has to match with the passport. So go to your passport, and where there is written the place of birth, the city or town, whatever it is, which is written on your passport, is the one you are supposed to put there. For instance, if someone now asks me, where were you born? My answer usually, I was born in Tanzania. I'm not saying I was born in Kigoma particularly, because I'm talking as a country-wise. Because that's my passport says now at the moment. My passport doesn't say, but if you go to the British passport, if you become a British, they will say, your passport will say, I was born in Kigoma. But in America, they put you are born in the country instead of the particular city of where you are born. So that's number one. So make sure you put the correct country, because it's a drop-down menu. Don't rush too quick and you put a wrong country. Putting a wrong country, that means you have to prove you are born in that particular country. And you'll be in so much trouble. You'll be denied, because now the person is working on it. There is a possibility you can be given the visa, but by law, by instruction, by the regulation, you are not supposed to be given the green card. And that is the instruction. You have to follow the instruction as they stipulated very clearly. So be careful on selecting the country of birth or place of birth. That is what is going to determine is the number one eligibility for the diversity visa lottery. We are going to talk about education and work experience, but that is one big part, is the part of place of birth. Another part of eligibility, apart from the country of birth, is education and or work experience. When we talk about education, you are supposed to have at least high school education in order to apply for the diversity visa lottery. I will explain in detail about high school education. What do they mean? How your high school in Uganda, how your high school in Sierra Leone, how the high school in Sudan, in South Africa is related to the high school in the United States. That will be number one. But what if you don't have high school education? By the way, people in Uganda, in Tanzania, secondary school or level, Form 4 is not high school. Just don't ask me, I finished Form 4 in Uganda or in Tanzania. That's not high school. High school in Tanzania and Uganda is advanced secondary school, which is Form 6. But in Kenya, high school is Form 4. They don't have Form 5 and Form 6. But before I go to explain more about education, if you don't have education of a minimum of high school, let's say you ended up in primary school, or you ended in secondary school, you didn't finish, you need to have at least 2 years of qualifying work experience. Listen very careful. Qualifying work experience, meaning not every work experience will be able to apply. It has to be a qualifying work experience. I will explain about that too. But let's go to the education part. When we say education, minimum of high school, we mean 12 years from primary school to secondary school. And that education must be in-class education. Not studying online somewhere by correspondence and you say that is high school. No. There are some countries, I can give you an example of Tanzania, where I'm originally from. Some people, sometimes they do what they do, like you finish primary school, maybe you didn't continue with the secondary school, you decided to take tuition or homeschool, or you go to a person who's teaching you, read books, whatever, and you take exam as a private candidate. You finish Form 2, you take the exam for Form 4, from your own as a private candidate student, you are taking Form 6 exam. That doesn't count as high school. They want high school to be in the class. To prove that, go and read the instructions about education. They gave even the good example that in the United States there is something called GED, General Equivalence Diploma of High School. That in America is people who maybe you go to high school, maybe you didn't do the high school, you decide to go to take the examination, which is equivalent to high school. If you have that one, that doesn't count as high school according to the DV lottery instructions. So you need to have clear attendance of the class to finish 12 years of education. But in Tanzania, for instance, as I said, high school is 13 years instead of 12 years, because you do 7 years of primary school, you do 4 years of ordinary secondary school, and you do 2 years of high school, making you 13 years. But if you go to the university, most of the degrees in Tanzania are 3 years, making you to be 16 years. But in Kenya, they do 8 years of primary school and do 4 years of secondary school, making you 12 years of high school. And when they go to the university, they do bachelor degree for 4 years. So that makes also 16 years of from primary school to bachelor's degree. So that is the education you need to have. What about the results? I know you might have that question. By law, by the instruction, they don't care what results you have, because green card is not a merit-based immigration like in Canada, where you need to have these points, these points, these points. But I know some of the embassies sometimes might require you need to have at least C of English, C of D of mathematics, whatever. Some of the embassies might require that. That's why I usually tell people, if you are in high school, just you have high school, no matter what, even if they say minimum is high school, make sure if you win, you have to put a good work experience, no matter whether, unless others you have bachelor degree, even if you don't have work experience, it's okay. But if you have high school, you are at the edge. What if they require to have B or C in mathematics? I got F. So should I lose that one? So to avoid that, you must make sure that you have at least work experience. I'll talk about work experience, but I want you to understand more about education. But this is very important. So if you don't win because you have high school, or because you ended in primary school, or you went in secondary but you didn't finish high school, you didn't win, or you're not going to win, not because of your education. It just happened you didn't win. The lottery selection, it is 100% random. It doesn't care the level of education. When they are doing the random selection, the criteria for random selection are only coming from the country of eligibility, are only based about what background to have the photo, looking about if you are wearing the glass or not. They are basic information. But if you win, that is when you are going to show, to write which school did you go, when did you graduate, the address of your school. But at the time of selection, they don't care whether you have PhD, whether you have masters, whether you have bachelor, whether you have diploma, whether you have high school, whether you ended in primary school. They don't care. I know many people who have primary school won the DV lottery. I know people with masters and PhD, they haven't won more than 4 times. They've applied it. So when they are doing the application, you are supposed to select the education. Primary school, high school, no diploma. So the word diploma is very confusing to people. In many countries, in Africa, in Asia, in Latin America, the word diploma, it means a level of education. If you finish certain level of primary school, or you went to junior high school, didn't finish high school, and then you went to get a diploma, that is not equivalent to high school. You don't have high school. I will explain to you what does that mean. But if you finish, let's say high school, or you want to do diploma in other countries is the level of education. In America, diploma is the certificate. When you finish Bachelor of Science, when you finish high school, they give you the certificate that Ernest Makulilo, you have been awarded a bachelor degree in political science. That, with the bachelor degree, with honor, whatever, that certificate of completion, that in American English is called a diploma. So diploma in America is not the level of education. When they say, did you finish high school diploma? Meaning you finish high school and you have the certificate of completion. That's the meaning of high school diploma. If you went for high school, you didn't graduate, you don't have the certificate, it will say high school, no diploma. If currently you are doing bachelor's degree, you are a university student, if you have already graduated, by graduating is not about the graduation ceremony. If you finish maybe in May or in June, there are some countries you finish in May or June, graduation is in December. The day you finish your final exams and the results came out, you are cleared, you have already graduated. Graduation doesn't mean that to wear that gown. That doesn't mean the graduation. You have completed your bachelor's degree's education. You are no longer going to school. So if you have completed bachelor's degree, you will say, you will choose undergraduate degree or undergraduate degree, whatever they put there. But if you are currently a university student, you will select some university courses. Some university courses, meaning you are still studying, or you went to the university, studied some of the courses, but you haven't graduated. Master's education. If you are still a student, you haven't finished your master's, it will say some graduate level courses. If you have already completed doctorate, you will put doctorate. If you are still a student doing doctorate, you will select some doctoral courses. But still, don't put the wrong level of education. Think that if I say I have bachelor degree, because I plan to go to do bachelor degree, that they will select you. Don't do that. Just put the correct level of education, because the selection doesn't care the level of education. In the DV lottery application, there is no any place where you are going to put the number of working experience. There is only section of education, though that doesn't matter on the selection part. If you win, yes, it matters. You have to put the education, where you studied, and you will put the work experience after winning when you are going to fill the visa form. But all in all, it is when you are going to fill the form, you will put only education. Don't lie your education level. Don't. Put the correct, try to be as truthful as possible, because it might cost you a lot, sorry. So that is education. Don't ask, oh, what about this West African education, whatever. If you, from primary school up to the day you finish without repeating class, it is 12 years of education. That is high school. But if your country has ordinary secondary school and advanced secondary school, the advanced one, the highest level of high secondary school, when you finish that education, you are going to do bachelor degree, that is the high school level education. Any question up to that particular moment? So, if you finish primary school, you went for vocational training, you can select vocational training. But vocational training doesn't mean it's going to offset the going to high school. Meaning, when you put vocational education, which is good, then you'll go to put work experience. I'll talk about work experience, but just vocation is just a vocation. You went to, like in Tanzania, they have vocational education training, whatever Tanzania is called, VETA, or you went to do mechanic school, which is a trade school. It's okay. You can say on the application that you have vocational education. You don't have high school, you have vocational. But still, you will be required to have 2 years of qualifying work experience. That is education. When you win, even if you have high school, still, even if you have masters, even if you have PhD, when you win on the area of work experience, you have to put work experience, whether it's paid work experience, whether it's unpaid work experience. We'll talk about that. But don't assume work experience must be paid getting the salary. So that is education when you are going to apply for the diversity visa lottery. There is no any place you're supposed to upload results or the certificate when you apply for the DV lottery. The only document you're supposed to upload is your passport, is the photo with the white background. We'll talk about the photo requirement. But the rest of the documents, you are not supposed to submit. The education documentation, work experience documentation are only required when you go to the DV lottery interview at the US Embassy. Even at the time you win and the KCC, Kentucky Consular Center, they are going to ask you for the documentation. They are not going to ask you for the education documentation or work experience documentation. They will ask you for other documents, but not those documents. Those documents are going to be discussed as eligibility when you go to the DV lottery interview at the consular's officer at the US Embassy in your country. So we have been talking about the eligibility part of the diversity visa lottery, and we have already talked about the country of birth. Then we talked about education, and in order to apply, we say you need to have education and or work experience to be able to qualify for the diversity visa lottery. So we talk about education, but when you are doing the application, there are two parts. There is the aspect of applying and what happens after winning. When you are applying for the diversity visa lottery, there is no any place you are supposed to indicate your current work, job position. In no place you are supposed to do that. You are not having any opportunity to add even the number to say you have 2 or 3 or 4 years of work experience. On the application part, there is only place where you're supposed to indicate the education part. That's all. And when you indicate, it's just you tick the level. You don't indicate I went to Kichangachui Primary School. No. They don't want to hear I went to St. John Seminary, whatever high school. They don't want to hear a specific name of the school. In the application, it's just to tick the level of education. But there is no where you are supposed to tick maybe the years of experience. But according to the instruction of the diversity visa lottery, you are supposed to have at least 2 years of qualifying work experience. The key word here is qualifying. I think it makes sense for some people, it doesn't make for others. Let me break down to you. The work experience must be within 5 years. You need to have at least 2 years of qualifying work experience in the last 5 years. So if that's the case, you need to have, let's say you don't have high school education. For that particular case, on your own, you need to have a job which requires, in order to perform that job, in order to get that job, you need to have at least 2 years of experience. I'm giving an example. If you become maybe a truck driver, in order to become a truck driver, the job requires you to have 2 years of work experience as a truck driver before. That means if you do the truck driving, that you qualify. Not just the day one you are starting to do truck driving, you don't have any other experience. It works that way. So you need to have at least 2 years first of experience before getting that particular job which you are going to use as qualifying work experience. Or if you don't have prior work experience, you need to have what is called the training. 2 years of training. If you go to the vocational education, you have a diploma of at least 2 years, then go and do the work experience. Or you need to have, first of all, the in-job work experience before you start counting those 2 years of work experience. But those work experience can either be paid work experience, can be unpaid work experience. You can volunteer somewhere, you can do internship somewhere, you can be paid for work you are doing. That's why I usually tell people, even if right now you are a high school student, you are going to apply for the for green card lottery, you must make sure that you are going to have at least 2 years of work experience. Go and volunteer somewhere. Go to the orphanage center, have a position and apply. That is something you need to make sure that you understand that one. But if you are just assuming that, oh, my job, you finish high school, your job is just, oh, let me chill and do betting. Betting is not work experience. You can get good money, but when the time comes to win the green card lottery, they are going to deny you the visa. There are some people, they say they have self-business. They are going to look at it. Do you have certifications? Do you have license? Is your business registered? What is the magnitude of your business? Not selling 2 tomatoes, 3 tomatoes outside your house, you say now you have business. No. You cannot say I'm a soccer player and you are playing in your village team. No. Work experience is going to look also the magnitude of it. Let's say you say, oh, I'm a chef. which is good. Did you go to the chef school? Did you go to the culinary school and go and get some vocational education certification to become a certified chef? Yes. Where do you work now? Do you cook for your family and you assume that you are a chef? No, that doesn't count. Do you cook rice and jollof outside your house and pilau and say that that is work experience? No. Are you working on the big hotel? Yes. Are you working in the big restaurant? Yes, that can count. But working just outside, you are selling, you get $50 per day, you say that is a work experience because you are cooking? No, it doesn't count. You are saying, I work at the saloon. Did you go to the vocation training? Did you go to the trade school? For instance, in America, you cannot cut any person's hair without going to the school for that. You have to get the license for that. So you need to have those kind of certification, trade school, vocation, or on-job training. You need to have the documentation. When you put, I worked on this particular area from this day to this day, when you go to the interview, if you win, you need to show the contract. You need to show, especially if you don't have education, because if you have a bachelor degree, they don't care if you say, I work at the revenue authority of my country as the accountant. Even if you don't have any documentation, they're okay because you are overqualified based on the education. But if you don't have those kind of education, which you don't have the transcript, you need to have every documentation, paperwork, to show that you volunteered on this particular, with this position, you worked for 3 years, you worked for 4 years, you have this kind of, so you need to have all those kind of things. But the best way, no matter what you are doing, especially if you don't have high school, start volunteering. Have a backup, despite the job you are doing. If you go to a certain particular nice organization, starting doing social work, doing something, it helps you when you win. You can be having a guarantee of getting what we call coming through the work experience. Other things, when you win, not doing the application, you have to know how to put in your work experience. In the other way, how do you arrange your work experience from the current one to the bottom one? Because each work experience, they will ask you, did you get any training before you go there, or on job or on school? You will indicate. Does that job require extra work experience, maybe 2 years work experience before you get hired? If yes, that's good. It's going to help you. So all those kind of things are very, very crucial. But you have to know that during the application, there is no any place you will be required to add work experience. The work experience will only be required when you are going to add on the time you have won the diversity visa lottery. The other part of the diversity visa lottery, which is very, very crucial, if you don't meet this aspect, please don't apply. Don't waste your time to apply if you don't meet this criteria or you don't possess this document. In the most recent applications, 2-3 years ago, the Department of State, or rather the US government, introduced the passport requirement in the application. This is another security feature to make sure that if you are the one who is applying, you are the one who is applying. To avoid scams, fraud, people stealing identity of others. Because it is easy, I can go there, I can find Ernest Boniface Makulilo, I can get the picture online, on social media, I can know what is the education level, I can know the city of birth, all those information, but you cannot get my passport number. So it can help to protect the identity of applicants. So that is good way. Advantage of that is bad, but its advantage, it has reduced the number of applicants. It's bad, but for some people who have applied, it's good. So the requirement is this, as follows. You must have passport, valid passport. When I say valid, it means the passport which is current in use in your country. There are countries like in East Africa, they have introduced a new passport. So it means the old passport, if in your country, are no longer used, that passport is invalid, is not a valid passport. Meaning you cannot use the old passport of Tanzania, the old passport of Rwanda, the old passport of Kenya, the old passport of Sudan, the old passport of Uganda to travel to go to Europe or to go other countries. Those passports are no longer applicable. Even if the expiration date is still maybe 2028, but those are not valid passport any longer. You cannot travel with those passports. So number one, passport must be valid, current passport of your country. Number two, must be an expired passport. If you use expired passport, you'll be disqualified on the diversity visa lottery. And when we say unexpired, it means, for instance, you are applying today, the passport must be valid, passport must be unexpired on the day of applying. If you are applying, let's say on October 10th, and the passport is going to expire on October 11, you are allowed to use that passport. Don't ask me the question, but my passport is going to expire in January next year. How will I go to America? Forget about how you'll go to America. The instruction is, on the day of applying, is your passport valid? If the answer is yes, go ahead and apply with it. If the passport expires after you apply, there is no problem. When the results come, you win, you will need to have a new passport. The new passport is the one you are going to fill in the DSC-260, which is the visa form. The new passport, where the step will be going to be put the visa, is what we are going to put on the in the DSC-260, which is the visa form. But when the Kentucky Consular Center asks for the documentation, you are going to send the old passport and the new passport. When you go to the interview, you'll go with the old passport, the passport you used to apply, and the new passport. If your passport is lost, you still know the number is still valid, you can use it. If you apply, maybe the passport is getting lost. Remember, you need to have the police report that the passport has been lost. You need to have the information when they request for the documentation, if you win, to say, I applied using my passport, and this is the police record that indicates passport number so and so, I lost the passport, and this is the new passport. Again, I made a video about the temporary passport. The temporary passport is allowed to use to apply for the diversity visa lottery. If you don't have the passport, go and apply the temporary passport. Temporary passport is a piece of paper, different from the passport book. Passport book is 10 years. Temporary passport is 6 months to 1 year valid. Temporary passport, you travel within your region. Meaning, if you're from East Africa, you can travel within East Africa. If you're from West Africa, you can travel within West Africa. If you are whatever. So it's a passport for a shorter time. So this temporary passport is allowed. You are allowed to use this temporary passport to apply for the DV lottery. If you use this one, when it is written, you can go and read the information. The passport number is starting with the TP, then there is a number. TP is the abbreviation for the word temporary passport. Don't use the word TP, the number. Put just the number and the letters which are there. Don't put the word TP. But the bigger passport, some countries, for instance in East Africa, these passports have letters and numbers, the big passport. Go ahead, for instance in Tanzania they put TAE, then there is a number. Go ahead and put the letters and numbers for the passport. But passport in America, they have just the numbers. They put the number, they don't put the letters. But if your country has letters and numbers, go ahead and put letters and numbers in your passport. Only on the temporary passport, the word TP, don't put the word TP. Because it's just abbreviation, doesn't mean anything. So, you are allowed to do that way. What if you don't have passport? Go and apply for temporary passport. Temporary passport is about $5 to $10 in your country. You can get it within 1 to 2 days. It's easier to get it, you are allowed to use to apply. Don't apply at all if you don't have the passport. Because you'll win and you'll be denied the visa. If you apply, there are 3 exceptions. I'll put 4, but 3 exceptions where you are allowed to apply without a passport. Don't choose this exception unless otherwise you meet. Number one, you must be stateless, which you are not. If you put you are stateless, you have to prove you are stateless. Very few people in this world are stateless. Where were you born? You are born in Ghana, you are born in South Africa, you are born in Sudan, born in Tanzania, Kenya. Obviously, you are not stateless, regardless of your status. Being refugee, you are not stateless. So don't put stateless because you are a refugee. No. If you are born in Burundi, yeah, you are born in Burundi. If you are born in Somalia, you are born in Somalia. Doesn't matter whether you are a refugee or not. You are not stateless. The second exception, you must be coming from a communist-controlled country, and you are unable to get the passport from that country, from that government. I guarantee you, no country in Africa is a communist-controlled country. No country in Asia which is eligible to apply is a communist-controlled country. So, don't put your communist-controlled country. Failure to get the passport, whether you are late, whether because of the pandemic, whether because of the war in your country, it doesn't count. It doesn't matter. The only reason you cannot get the passport is you are coming from a communist-controlled country, or you are stateless, or you have a waiver letter from the Secretary of Homeland Security and the Secretary of State of the United States of America. And in order to get that waiver, you must already be in the United States. There is a form you have to fill. You are already here. I believe until you come here, you already have the passport. So those are the only three exceptions you are allowed to apply without a passport. Don't put any exemption unless otherwise you meet. I guarantee you 99.99% of you don't meet. So go and get the passport. Whether it's temporary passport, whether a passport book, you must get it. If you don't get it, don't apply. I know 3 people applied without a passport. 1, they were denied. I know 1 person applied with expired passport, went to the interview, was denied because used expired passport. That is wrong. It's very, very wrong. Another exception or applicability is if you are a refugee and you have the UN passport, UNHCR, which is the United Nations High Commission for Refugees, they provide a certain type of passport. If you have those passports, you are allowed to use those passports. That is the other exception you can be able to use if you are a refugee and you have a refugee passport. Out of that, don't apply without a passport. And the passport is required to the main applicant. If I'm the husband applying, and I say I'm married and have children and my spouse don't need to have passport to be part of the application. But if my spouse wants to apply, if my spouse wants to apply, my spouse also needs to have a passport. If wants to apply as a main applicant, if wants to apply as a principal applicant, will be required to have a passport. And I encourage you, also you to apply as a main applicant, your spouse also to apply as a main applicant. You can have 2 chances, 2 opportunities to apply and win, than just, oh, because I'm the father of the house, I'm the person in charge of the house, let me apply alone. You'll lose, but your wife can win. So give the opportunity for both you and your wife to apply. Possible one of you or both of you might win. So increase the chance by both your spouse and yourself to apply. Don't use the passport of your spouse like to apply. There is one guy in Ghana, use it to apply, use the passport of his wife. Obviously that is wrong. That is a crime. To impersonate another person, obviously you are going to be denied the visa. So if your wife is the one with the passport, let your wife apply. If it's you with the passport, apply. Don't use the same passport you to apply with that passport and use your wife to claim the same passport. That's wrong. Making a mistake of the passport number, that means you put a wrong passport. Putting a wrong passport is better to have a wrong name. It is okay to have a mistake in date of birth, but a mistake on passport will automatically going to be a reason to be disqualified for your visa. So make sure that you don't make a mistake of any number on your passport and the expiration date of the passport. If you have a child who is 17, make sure also that child, despite you to apply as a main applicant, add your child. Make sure that your child also has a passport. If he's 17, can apply as also a main applicant. If the child wins, and the results will come at the age of 18, can come out to America. So you increase all the chances, find all the ways you can increase the chances of yourself and your children. It's opportunity. Make sure that they have the passport. You never know. Another aspect of the diversity visa lottery is marital status. This is a very crucial part of the application. In the DV lottery application, there is a place which is written your marital status. Marital status can be unmarried, married. You can be married, your spouse is American citizen or green card holder. If your spouse is American citizen or green card holder, there is no need to add the information of your spouse, because your spouse doesn't need to get another green card or to become again American citizen. But if your spouse, you say you are married and your spouse is not American citizen or green card holder, whether that your spouse is planning to come or not to come, you have to include the date of birth of your spouse, the gender of your spouse, the photo of your spouse. You have to include that information. It's a very critical part. You can have the divorce, you don't need to add the information, but when you win, you need to have the information about the divorce. You have to add the information if you are, let's say, your spouse has died, you are that kind of status, you have to put that one. But there is no status of girlfriend and boyfriend. There is no status of being engaged, fiancé. There is no that status. So don't go there and start adding the information which is not required, because there is a rumor and the information which is a myth, which is not true, that if you are married you have more chance of winning. Yes, it's true, but only if a husband applies as many applicants, the wife applies as many applicants. Two applications is two principal applicants. Husband has a passport, applies, is married to person B. Person B is going to apply as many applicants. Say I'm married to person A. You have two chances. But just by being husband, by being wife, by being married doesn't give you extra chance of being a winner. US government doesn't care whether you are married, whether you are unmarried. What matters is you increase the chance by both husband and wife to apply. That's the only way you can increase your chances. So don't go to the DV lottery application and say you are married because you are planning to get married in December. No. On the day of application, what is your current marital status? Put the marital status of the day you are applying. Even if you are going to get married tomorrow, if you are applying today, you are still unmarried. Be careful with that. Don't go and tell your girlfriend, I'm married to you, and you are married to me, so that you can increase the chances. No, don't do that. If your girlfriend or your boyfriend wins, just let her apply as unmarried. You are not married. Then you can get married even after the results. Failure to put the person who is your spouse. Let's say you are married, you say you are not married. And let's say you are married, you don't say you are not married, or you are not married, you say you are married. To put a person who is not your spouse, to put the wrong information about marital status, will make you denied the visa right away. So make sure you have the information about your spouse, and especially for the people who maybe their spouse, they live in another town, they live in the village, or they live in one town in another town, or you are in one country another country. Make sure your spouse and children have the photos, individual photos. Each photo must meet the requirements, because I know some people who go to apply, because they don't have the photo of their spouse, they end up putting unmarried, which is wrong. I know some people, you go to apply to the internet cafe, to cyber area, because you see difficulties, it takes longer to put all the information. Just apply, and you're going to add your wife later. You are going to add your husband later. Failure to add your spouse will lead to the disqualifications down the road on the visa interview. But there are some people, they say, oh, we didn't get married in court or to the church or to the mosque. We did the traditional marriage. It's okay, you still husband and wife, there is no problem with that. You still have to put your wife, you still have to put your husband, but you have to get the marriage certificate from your government once you win, because the US government will not give you the visa as husband and wife. Or when the Kentucky Consular Center KCC requests for the documentation, they need to have the marriage certificate, not the photo of you and the traditional chief drinking Fanta or Coca-Cola and the traditional African beer that, oh, we are just dancing, that's a wedding. They don't care about the traditional African dancing or wedding. What they care is the marriage certificate from your government. Yes, if you got married 10 years ago on the traditional marriage, you got today to get the marriage license or marriage certificate, the marriage certificate will have the today's date. There is no problem with that. Don't try to forge and backdate you got married all those 10 years ago. No, put the date of today, but you show the evidences that you got married 5 years ago or 10 years ago. There is no problem with that. Let's go to the people who are married in a traditional way or through mosque. You have more than one wife. In Kenya, you are allowed to have more than one wife. You have 4, 3, 2 wives, whatever you have. Or Muslim are allowed to have more, or depending on your culture. The United States, or most of the Western countries, almost all, polygamy is illegal. So if you have 4 wives, you do one application. When you say you are married, it only opens one spot. So out of your 2, 3, 4 wives, 5 wives, go and put one you want to come together in America if you win. But your spouse, if you have 4 wives and your 4 wives have passports and they want to apply, they are allowed to put you married to you. There is no problem with that. But you cannot go and apply, oh, I'm going to apply with Asha. I'm married to Asha. I'm going to apply with the Hamida Binti John, Binti Muhammad. So this is another application because this is my another wife. No. The software is going to detect that you have gone to duplicate application and you will be automatically disqualified for that. So when you are going to apply for the DV visa lottery, make sure you put the appropriate marital status. Putting a wrong or adding someone who is not, you are going to be disqualified for that. And you'll be having a very difficult time once you win the diversity visa lottery. So we'll be talking about what are the reasons you'll be disqualified despite of winning. This is one of the reasons why you'll be disqualified despite of winning, is going to put someone who is your spouse while is not your spouse. Or to say you are not married while you are married, you are married while you are not, or you are going to add someone who is not. So all those kind of things are very, very crucial for you to understand. But if today you are single and you get married after the application for the DV lottery, you get married after the DV lottery results come out and you find out you have won, there is no problem. As long as you are going to prove that you got married after the application, you are coming together. The problem is to say that you are married while you are not, or you are not married while you are. But if you get married after the application for the DV lottery, there is no problem. You and your spouse together, you will come to America. So be careful to make sure that you follow the instruction properly. Another critical part of the diversity visa lottery is children. There is a question which asks you number of children you have. So you are supposed to put the number. If you don't have any child, you put 0. If you put 1, if you put 0, your application will be just 1 page, and then you say confirm, then submit, because that is the last part of the application. If you say you have 1 child, you put 1, the application will open page 2. It will give the 1 space to add your child, 1 child. If we say you have 2 children, it will give 2 options, like 2, the name of the child, gender, place of birth, and the photo of the child. There is no passport information of the dependents. Then, if we say you have 3 children, it will open 3. That's why I say on marital status, there is no, by default is 1, because there is no polygamy in America. But more than 1, if you put 1 child, 1 spouse. 2 children, 2 areas. 3 children, it will keep adding the application. There is no problem with that. Usually I tell people, in order to hurry, to make sure that you apply as soon as possible, make sure your photos are already in order to meet all the requirements. So you don't need it all. They say a picture of the child. Let me go and find a picture of the child. No, make sure that you have all this information ready to go before you go to apply. So, children, the information required for the children is a passport photo, just like the photo of the main applicant. We'll talk about the photo. Must meet all the requirements. 2, the application. When you say you have a child, you have to put the gender, place of birth, date of birth, all this information. Children, number 1 requirement, must be under the age of 21 on the day of application and unmarried. If a child is 18 years old, 17 years old, 20 years old, is married, that child doesn't qualify to be added in the list of the dependents in the application. If your child is 21 years old on the day of application, that means is 21 and above, is not under the age of 21. When you put in the date of birth of that particular child, it will not accept, because it will tell you the child is above the age of 20. The child is 21. The child must be under the age of 20, 21 and married. So if you add your child and it's 21, that means you had to lie, and that is a critical big mistake. You will be denied the visa, because when you are going to the application, they will see the date of birth, place of date of birth, the birth certificate, they will see the passport. All those will have the date which is different from the one you are deceiving, you are lying, you are committing a fraud. So a child must be under the age of 21 and married to be included. And who is the child who is supposed to be there? Apart from to be under the age of 21 and unmarried, the child must be biological child, your child. That's number 1. If it's not your child, it must be a stepchild. There is no place you say stepchild. I will describe that one. So if you get married, legal married to a person A, and that person, either is a man or a woman, has children. Once you get married, those are your stepchildren. And they don't need to have your name to be your stepchildren. You will add them. And their father or their mother can apply on the other side, and they will add their biological children. There is no problem with that. Or you can have the children, can add, it must be adopted children. Adoption, legal adoption. Don't go to take the child of your relative and add them there. That is not allowed. There is one person 2 weeks ago asked me, has been denied the visa. I was on live. The reason of being denied the visa, because added the stepchild during the visa application, but the stepchild was not included during the lottery application. And when the person went there, he said, on the application, he said you don't have a child, but now you come with a child, so you are denied the visa. If you go to read the instruction, number 14 and 15 about children and the marital status. On the children, it says, adding a child who is not your child, by not your child meaning is not adopted child by the legal ways, by the court of law, is not your stepchild, is not your biological child. Adding the friend child or any child over there, or not adding your child and you bring that you have a child, you will be disqualified on the visa interview. So the person was denied the visa because didn't add that child. Say, oh, when I go to add there, there is no place they say stepchild. There is no place say stepchild, or there is no place say adopted child. The child is supposed to be added is a stepchild, is supposed to be a biological child or adopted child by the legal. You have a court documentation that you have legally adopted that particular child. There is another person, I'm giving these cases so that you can understand. There is one father applied for the DV lottery. The father has a child. The child is 19 years old. So he added that he has a child. That child has a child. So that means the father, that one is the granddaughter. Because the father of that person impregnated the teenager was not part of the life, the child has the name of this grandfather. So that grandfather went ahead and added that part as his child. The person was denied the visa. That's not your child. You cannot bring the grandchild. So if you are applying, you say you have a child, you can come with that child. If that child has a child, that other child cannot come. This is not a caravan route to bring everybody. No, it's father, mother, and a child. Not father, mother, grandfather, granddaughter, whatever, grandson, whatever, great-grandchildren, no. So you will come, the person will come with a green card, and the person, if that the child has a child, will sponsor that one in a different route, but not through a lottery means. So there is no problem if a child has a child, but that child with a child, the other child who is the grandson, granddaughter, will not come along, will not be included, because the winner will be allowed to come with the dependents. Dependents is only children and spouse. One spouse, not spouses you come with 3 husbands or 3 wives, no. One. And the children must be biological or stepchildren or legal adopted children. Adding a person who is not your child, putting 0 while you are not having child, you will be denied. So make sure, especially for the people who live far away from their family, make sure you have the photos. Even if you live with them, their kids are in boarding school, make sure you have the photos before you go to apply. The background of the photo is white. I know some of the countries, the passport photos, background is blue or red. Make sure the passport background is white. So don't make a mistake. Make sure that you add the appropriate child. That is very critical. I'll be coming to talk about it, but I'm not planning to come with a child. Still in the application, you have to add them. Even if you don't have a plan. Even if you don't plan to come with your spouse, you have to add your correct marital status, whether you're planning to come with them or not. We'll be talking about it in the future, down the road. What if I want to come alone, then my family to come later? What will be the process? But at the moment, in the application, you haven't won, you have to add them. Whether you have conflict with the spouse, you don't agree with them, but is your spouse, you have to add, your child, you have to add them. No matter what, as long as they are under the age of 21 and unmarried. Whether they live with you, whether they live with their parents. Because you can get married to someone, or you can have a child, the child lives with the mother, or the child lives with the father, but it still is your child. You have to add. It doesn't matter whether the child lives with you, or the child lives with the grandparents, or they live with the other parent. It doesn't matter. The point is your child. That's what matters. And the other important part of the diversity visa lottery, before you go to submit and finalizing the application, is to make sure that you have the correct photo which meets the requirements and the measurements to apply for the diversity visa lottery. I made a video on how you can edit the photo. I put the link on the description of this video where you can see how you can be able to edit the photo. But a few important things you need to understand about that particular photo. The DV lottery photo, number 1 instruction is, don't use the photo you used in the last year's DV lottery application. Using, according to the instruction, do they implement? I say it might be no. Using the photo which you used in the previous DV lottery application is automatic disqualification of the lottery. But I know I did it that way. I applied for someone using one of the old years application, and the person won the DV lottery. And is now here, and the person lives with me. Is my nephew. But don't take that risk. For me, I applied, I knew the instruction, but it was the last day, and I checked my computer and I saw the photo, I said, oh, let me apply, because I didn't have the photo and I had the passport. At that time, they didn't have the passport requirement at that time. So I just applied for the person. So let's follow the instruction. Let's not expose ourselves into a lion's face, assuming that we'll feel sorry for you. Maybe the lion is not eating, is already full. No. The instruction is don't use the last year's photo. Another instruction is make sure you use the most recent photo. They say at least the photo you have taken in the last 6 months. Within the last 6 months. Don't take a photo 10 years ago. For me, if you go 10 years ago, I used to have a big afro like Jackson 5 or the African freedom fighter. So you need to have a photo which is the most recent, especially for the kids. If you take the photo of my daughter 6 months ago and today, they are two different people. Now it's a little bit different compared to the previous one. So make sure that you take the most recent photo. So any photo you have taken recent, it's okay. But if you have the photo you used last year, you took the last year, January is good, you can use it. What you need to do, take that photo, download the photo and upload it on your desktop. Save it again, it will have the new date of today. It looks like a new photo. That's another way you can be able to do that. Remember, the visa photo for the United States, whether to go to the US Embassy to get the visa or for the DV lottery application, the background must be white. Don't use the blue, don't use the black, don't use yellow, don't use red. It has to be white or plain background. Don't use gray, don't use like light blue. It's supposed to be white. No shadow. Don't make sure that there is a shadow. You have to look front to the lens of the camera. Don't need to look this side. Don't look the sideways. No. Look with the straight. Once you take the photo, don't take the photo and take upside down. If you turn around, you are going to lose. That is another instruction. Another thing is, don't wear the glasses. Prior to 2018, you are allowed to wear glasses. Now you are not allowed to wear glasses. If you wear the glasses, game over. The photo, it has a special measurement. I have a video on how you can use a free website to edit the photo, which it will give the proper measurement and make sure that it meets the requirements for the diversity visa lottery. Don't make a mistake. They don't care whether you have dreads, but don't put the dreads, they cover like your face like this way. Don't wear the hijab which you cover until just the eyes. You wear the hijab which is religious. As long as you wear the hijab in a religious way in daily basis. But if you wear hijab today and on Fridays, no, just wear normal clothing. Don't wear the uniform unless otherwise you are a priest or you are a sheikh and you are not allowed to wear any other attire. You can wear that one. But you are a police, don't wear the police uniform. Don't wear uniform as a doctor. Think that because they see a picture as a doctor, they are going to give you, to allow you to win. No, they are going to disqualify you. Again, another thing is, make sure when you are taking those kind of photo, don't start showing the facial, no, just be normal face in the normal way. I have the link on this video on how you can edit the photo. Another question people related to the photo, they ask, can you use a cell phone? Can you use a tablet? Can you use only a camera? You must go to the studio. iPhone can take a photo better than most of the normal cameras. As long as you have a very good light, you can take the photo. If you take outside, you take a white sheet behind you or white wall, make sure it's very plain, take that photo, there is no problem. So those are the things. And when someone is taking the photo, don't be too close to the camera like this way, there is no even a place like space-wise. Come a little bit like this way, come a little, allow space above your head, allow space on side so that when you go to crop on that website or on any tool you are using to crop, it will have a good space. But if you be too close, they'll cut your head like this way. If they cut your head like this way, that you don't qualify. So those are the things you need to consider when you're going to apply. The photo is very, very important. Just a photo can make you win or lose, disqualified from the start. And the photo of the main applicant will be having the same requirement. The weight of the photo is supposed to upload. The weight of the photo is not supposed to exceed 240 kilobytes. It can be 5, it can be 10, it can be 50, it can be 100, it can be 200. But if it's a 240 and above, it will say the weight is exceeding the maximum. It will tell you that way. It will not go. So make sure the weight of the photo is that way. When you go to that website I'm telling you, which is egreencardphoto.com, I will put the website here. You can be able to see how you can use that photo tool to edit, and automatically will be having less than 240 kilobytes. And you have to save it in JPEG, JPG, or JPEG, whatever that one, JPEG. Don't take a photo from the studio, print out, then you take your phone, you take a printed photo. Why do you do that? It's supposed to be a digital photo. So don't take a photo of a printed photo. It doesn't make sense. No. If you go to the studio, they print it, tell them to send to your email, tell them to give you on the flash or memory card. Don't print out. Those are the instructions. Out of that, you'll be good. The photo of the main applicant, the photo of the dependent, whether the spouse or the children, should all have the same requirement. Even if the child is 1 day old, you must have the photo. You must apply. When you apply, you have a child. Even if a child is 1 day old, you have to include the photo. But if the child is not born, is still in the stomach, in the womb, you cannot take the picture of the child who is in the womb. So that doesn't count. So you don't count, I have a child who still is in the womb. No. Because you cannot have the photo of that child. So even if a child is 1 day old, you can put it on the car seat, or you can lay down the white sheet and take the child, lay down and take a picture from upside down this way. Or put it on the car seat and take a picture of the child. Or what we did when we took the photo of Faustina, when we want to take the passport, we were applying for the passport for Faustina, was 3 or 4 months old, whatever. So what we did, I took Faustina and carried the Faustina like this way, and someone took a picture of her from there, and the background is white. So you can find different ways to take a photo that way. So you must take a photo. If a child is born after you apply, there is no problem. When you win, you can add the child. But if the child is not born yet, don't worry at all, because you don't have the photo. So that is very, very important. They are not going to require the same photo if you win the DV lottery, that you have to use the same photo to get the visa, no. But you have to make sure that the photo meets all the requirements, so that you cannot be disqualified for things which you can be able to avoid them. Now let's go to the last part of the submission of the application. You have already put date of birth, your full name, everything, address, blah, 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 blah. You are going to submit. When you go to submit, make sure first of all the information is correct. Make sure the passport number is correct. Make sure the correct number of children, and to put all the information. Make sure the country of birth, the country of eligibility is correct. Make sure you put, if you are married, put married. If you are not married, put single. Put unmarried. Don't lie. If you have all the information, you can be able to fill the DS2, the DV lottery application form less than 10 minutes. But if you start, let me go and find the photo, let me start going to find the passport, that will take you 30 minutes, and whatever you try to submit, it will not accept. It will say the page cannot be displayed, or there is error, it cannot be processed. But if you do everything within 5 to 10 minutes, it will be good. When you submit, the application will say successful with green bolded words. That is when you have submitted. And once you submit that one, it will say print this page. If you don't need to have a printer, but you make sure that you take a photo, screenshot, or take a photo of that. Save to particular way, wherever you want to save it. So, the confirmation number will be displayed on that after applying to say success, confirmation number, year of birth, and your name will be there. We'll start with the last name, comma, and the name there. Make sure you have that one. If you don't have the confirmation number, success, it means you haven't successfully applied. Previously, there was a problem on application. When you apply, you try to apply again, or you didn't know, maybe it says there is a problem. When you apply, it doesn't give you any notice. But nowadays, you might apply, maybe you didn't get the confirmation number, maybe it say it's accepted, but maybe by mistake you close, whatever, something like that. If you try to apply again, you put your passport number, all the information, it will tell you your information has already been recorded. Do you want to proceed? If you proceed, it will be a duplicate application. And the duplicate application, it means you are going to be disqualified. So nowadays, if you have already applied, it will give you a notice that your application has been recorded. But if you apply and you end up in the middle of it, you didn't submit, that application will not be stored in the system, will be deleted automatically. So you can apply. Application is successful is until you reach at the end and you click submit button. And you get the success with the confirmation number. We'll talk about what if you lose that confirmation number. But up to that moment, that is when you do the complete application. If you come to realize later, you made a mistake on date of birth, you made a mistake on application on your letter, letters of your name, any mistake, don't go and do another application. Because if you do application, the second one, no matter reason you have, game over. You are disqualified. The Department of State software we are going to detect that you are going to do the duplicate application. Because you are putting the passport number, it will be the same passport number, it will be the same face. Even if you have two different photos, you put them there, they have facial recognition, it will detect that you have done the duplicate application, and it's going to delete, it's going to disqualify you from the application. So no matter what, don't do a duplicate application. If you have done the mistake, let it go. When you go to apply, there is no, I'm going to fill the application, sign out, then come later. This is not like DS260 visa form where you can sign in, fill the form, reach in the middle and come out. If you don't submit, you come back, you come again, you are going to start the new application. And until you finish, you click the word submit. That is when you can be able to do that. So if you want to be familiar, you can click there, go to apply, and print the form or go and read all the question, write with the pen, make sure that everything is correct, and then you go ahead. The same way I usually tell people, even if you go to cyber cafe, print out the information. Don't go there with the information someone is telling you, oh, hey, what is your passport number? Write down everything. These are the information I want to write is the year. But make sure that if possible, apply on your own. There is no trick. If EBM is the one in America apply for you, you are going to win. Or someone who is using a specific cyber cafe, you are going to win. No. God is the one determining whether you are going to win or not. It's not about me. The place of the applicant doesn't help you to win. The time you apply doesn't help you to win. So, make sure that you make a successful application by following all the instructions, and that you'll be good. The rest you leave to God. That's all what you need to do to make a successful DV lottery application. And the successful DV lottery application gives you the chance to go to the selection pool. You might be randomly selected, but if you do a wrong application, you'll be disqualified, even not going to the selection pool, already disqualified. Like you are just wearing the glasses, already disqualified. So those are the mistakes you need to avoid, so that you can go to be in the chance of being randomly selected. And if you win, by doing a correct application, you'll be in a position where you are going to get a major guarantee of getting the visa than someone lying and doing the mistakes, which you are going to win and lose or not be given the visa because you do a lot of mistakes. So let's go to other questions which are related to the application of the diversity visa lottery. These will be randomly questions, part of the forms, but are very, very important too for you to do before you go to make sure that you do the successful application. One of the things which is very, very important is the email address. Make sure you use your own email address. Don't allow someone at the cyber cafe, internet cafe to use their own email address. Create your own email address, have it. And if someone is applying for you, make sure you record the confirmation number. Take a picture of the confirmation number. Print out, have your own. Don't allow someone, because if someone doesn't give you doesn't use your email, doesn't allow you anything, that means can say you haven't won. How do you know? But if you use your own email, you can go and retrieve the confirmation number. If someone doesn't give you back, you can go and put your date of birth, you can put your email and put your full name, and you can get the confirmation number. So make sure you use your own email address in the DV lottery application, even if someone is helping you to apply. That's very, very important. I encourage all the time people to apply on your own. So use your own email. But if husband and wife, you want to use the same email address, that's okay. There is no problem with that. So the key is make sure you have the email. The email, you'll be coming to thank me. Everybody is going to be scammed down the road, like someone is applying for you, they say you have to pay money, you have to marry someone, whatever they come to back, because they use their email address, they use they use all the information, you have nothing. But if you know your email address, you know your date of birth, obviously, you have your email address, the one you are using your own, you can retrieve. The person cannot have any leverage on you. So that is something very, very important for you to consider when you are going to apply. Make sure that you use your own email address, even if someone is going to help you to apply. Another question which is very important about the application for the DV lottery. What is the address, the mailing address? Because there is email address which I've talked about, which is electronic, the Gmail, the Yahoo email. That's number one. I ask people don't use the email of their work, like blah, 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 at TRI, at a certain university. What if you're not working and that email has been disabled? That will be a problem. But another part of it is the mail address. The mail address is the physical address. Here in the United States, when we say the mail address, is the address where they send the mail, where they send the letters. Basically, it is your physical address at your home. What is your home address? So when you are going to fill the form, when they say put the mail address, it means you put the address where you live. But what is the purpose of that particular address? Majority of people, the homes where they live, the addresses are different. They don't use, like here, you can put the street name, the house number, someone can come. There are some places they have, like Kigali, you go, in Rwanda, they have those ones. But not every country, they have those ones, especially developing countries. So the address which you put there means nothing. They are not going to send any documents. So you can put the address if you have. If you don't have the address, the physical address where you can put the postal address, the PO box, you can put it. If you don't have that address, you can use the care of address. You can use the care of your church, your mosque, your school, your office. You can put the address, even the fake one. You can say PO box 10100 in Accra, Ghana. There is no problem with that. That address means nothing. They don't send any document to that address. So don't worry. Don't stress too much about that address. The most important is the email address. That is the most important part, but not the mailing address or the physical address where you live. They don't send any document to that address. That's very, very key. Another part of the DV lottery application, apart from using the email and the mailing address, is the country of birth, which I've talked about, and where you live. So where you live right now, by default, that area where you live will be the default area of interview. So if you are now in Dubai, but your original country is Uganda, or your original country is Cameroon, you want to do the interview in your country, even if you put the country where you live now is Cameroon, that means by default, the interview location will be in your country. But even if you put the default, the interview, you say, where do you live now? You say, I live in country A, but you are originally from another country. The interview location will be in that country, but when you are going to fill the visa form, don't worry, you can be able to change the location of the interview. But there are countries like Uganda, for instance, or Burundi, you cannot do the immigrant visa interview in Burundi or in Uganda. So Uganda by default, even if you say you live in Uganda, by default the interview will be Nairobi. If you are in where you are in Burundi, the interview location will be in Nairobi. But if you want to change to do in Dar es Salaam or to do in Kigali or in another city, you can do that. But those countries, they don't have the immigrant visa in their own countries. That is another thing which is very important for you to understand when you are going to apply for the DV lottery, where you live. So when I'm talking about where you live, so another related question to that is, so if you apply, does the location of the applicant matters? No, it doesn't matter. If you live in America, doesn't mean that they'll give you the visa quick, you go to win. No. So don't start to pressure people who live in the US or in Europe. You think that when they apply, you're going to win. Your eligibility is based on the country of birth. So even if you are in the US but you are original from Tanzania, you are going to win as Tanzanian in the region of Africa. So your number will be AF. It doesn't matter where you are. So location where you are has nothing to do with giving you the higher chances of winning. No. There's similar question. What about the time of application? If I apply on the first day or on the last day, if I apply on the first day, do I have more chance of winning? No. Whether you apply on the first day, on the last day, on the middle day, it doesn't matter. Whether you apply in the morning, afternoon, evening, night, weekend, whatever, it doesn't matter. They are not processing anything until all applications are together, and they don't care when the application opens, when it ends, they are going to do that. But we advise people not to apply on the last day because sometimes the internet will be so overwhelmed, the website cannot be maybe open for you to apply and you cannot be able to apply. That is the only reason we tell you don't apply on the last day. But it doesn't mean that if you apply on the last day, you don't win. My nephew, I applied on the last day, about an hour, 2 hours before the deadline, and my nephew won the DV lottery and we live with him now here. So it doesn't matter. But many people in developing countries prefer to apply during the night because in your country, the internet might be faster during the night. But it doesn't mean that if you apply during the midnight or during the weekend, oh, this is when you win. No. That is something you need to understand. Does the religion matter? No. Religion doesn't matter. Whether you are Christian, Muslim, don't have religion, even there is no question about religion in the DV lottery application. They don't care about your religion. So if you lose, don't say, oh, I'm a Muslim, or I'm from wherever. People in Iran are the countries, for instance, in Iran, where almost everybody is a Muslim, 6,000 people are winning. People in Egypt are majority Muslim, they are winning. So if you don't win, don't say, oh, because I'm Muslim or I'm Christian. They don't care about that. Or because I have dreads, or because I have beard on my, no, they don't care about that. All those kind of things, they don't matter in the DV lottery application. So as long as you follow all the procedures, you'll be good to go. Don't start worrying about unnecessary things and finding the reason why you are going to lose by putting so much pressure on you. Just do everything correctly way, apply, leave to God. That's what you need to do. Apart from that, everything will be good for you. when you apply for the diversity visa lottery, we have been saying about mistakes, avoid these mistakes. Why am I insisting those kind of things? I'm insisting because of two things which will happen to you to your green card lottery. One, you might be disqualified even not to go to the selection process, or you might go to the selection process, win, but going to be denied the visa. So in this video, I'm going to explain to you what are the reasons why one person will win the diversity visa lottery, but despite of winning, is 100% guarantee you are going to lose. You are going to be denied the visa, the green card visa. Why? Why are you going to apply, you win, and go to be denied the visa? So if you know the process of applying, the key instructions on the diversity visa lottery, for sure you will avoid the possibility of being denied. There are things you can be beyond your capacity, but the majority of the reasons why you are going to be denied the visa are the mistakes you have done when you are going to fill the DV lottery application form. So if you avoid these mistakes, they will guarantee you, if you win, to be given the visa, not to be denied the visa. So the following are the reasons as to why a DV lottery winner will be denied the visa despite of winning. Number one, why? Number one is failure to meet the country of eligibility. Let's say you are born in a country A and the country is not eligible, but you go ahead and apply and you put another country of eligibility, you will be denied the visa if you win. Let's say you are from Canada or United Kingdom and you are not allowed to apply, you are born from that country, you go ahead and apply, obvious, if you go and win, you will be denied the visa. That's number one. Number two, the mistake on putting a wrong country of birth or the wrong country of eligibility. Remember, eligibility of the diversity visa lottery is based on the country of birth. So let's say you are born in South Sudan, but when you are going to select the countries, by mistake you put South Korea. Obviously, if you win, you are supposed to prove that you are born in South Korea, and your case number when you win, it will be 2022, 2023, 2024 AS. You are from Asia and not from Africa if you are born from South Sudan. So you have to prove that you are from Asia, region of Asia, and you are from that particular country. I was talking to one guy who is the winner. I feel bad for him. He was born in Kenya. He's the DV2023 winner. But when he was answering the question number 6 of the DV lottery application, the question said, first of all, the question, country of birth, he put Kenya, was born in Kenya. The person lives in South Africa at the moment, but he interpreted the question in the wrong way. The question number 6 says, are you claiming the eligibility of the diversity visa lottery based on the country of birth? The person was supposed to say, yes, I was born in Kenya and I go to claim my country of eligibility in Kenya. But the mistake, the person put no and assumed they ask where you live and put the country of South Africa. So you have won. Now you are the winner from South Africa as a country and not eligibility from Kenya. So basically you're supposed to be denied the visa. The only way you can be given is because it still is in the same Africa region. The consular might feel sorry. That is depending on the sorry part and how it is, but by the law, it is written clear. Mistake on putting the wrong country of eligibility, no matter what reason you have, they are going to deny you. But if someone will feel, oh, maybe you explain, is a gamble you're going to do. I put it by mistake when I was putting there, I understood the wrong question, might feel sorry, but by law, you are supposed to be denied the visa. That is reason number 2. Reason number 3. The eligibility is also require you to have at least a high school education or 2 years of qualifying work experience. You don't have 2 years of work experience, you don't have high school. Obviously, you will be denied the visa. That is the reason number 3. You have 1, you don't have high school, and you don't have 2 years of qualifying work experience. Reason number 4. Why are you going to be denied the visa despite of winning? You apply with invalid passport. Maybe passport, let's say for East Africa, the passport they denied to use, they ended the old passport, they brought the new passport. Even if your passport, the date of expiration is still maybe 2029, but the country, all the East African countries, the passports are not valid. Those old passports are not valid. Using invalid passport, you will be denied the visa. Using expired passport, you will be denied the visa. Putting a wrong passport number, you will be denied the visa. So make sure you don't use invalid. Make sure the passport is not expired. Make sure that you are using the passport to put the correct number. And you must have the passport. Applying without a passport is 100% disqualification, because we said there are 3 exemptions. Are you stateless, or are you coming from the communist controlled country and you are not able to get the passport from that country, or you are supposed to have a waiver letter from the Secretary of State and the Secretary of Homeland Security. If you don't have any of the proof of those 3 reasons, they don't care whether you are in the war zone, they don't care you are coming from Afghanistan, they don't care whether there is a pandemic, there is a restriction, they don't care about those reasons. Get the passport even if it will be a temporary passport. So you will be denied the visa on the aspect of passport. Whether it is invalid, whether it is the passport is expired, wrong passport number, or not using passport at all, you will be denied the visa. Reason number 5. Number 1, I said, if I can go back, number 1, country of birth, eligibility, put a wrong one. Education, no work permit, whatever work experience. On the passport, we are explaining all the aspects of the passport. Put a wrong date of birth, date of the passport expiration, or passport invalid, all those kind of things, passport number. So all those things are reasons why we'll be denied. Another reason why we'll be denied the visa: lying on the marital status. You put you are unmarried while you are married. You put you are married while you are single. You are divorced, you say you are married. Or adding a person who is not your wife or your husband. Total disqualification. Reason number 6. Adding a child who is not yours, putting incorrect number of children. When you say add the child who is under the age of 21 and married, you are going to put a child, yes, is under the age of 21 but is married. You will be denied the visa. Put the number of children, you put 0 while you have 2 children. And then when you are going to add the children, you are going to be denied the visa. I gave the example, someone didn't know that when we say children, we mean biological children, adopted children, by law adopted, or stepchildren. Didn't know that stepchildren, you can add them. So after winning, go to put the stepchild, was denied because ignorance of the law is not the defense. You are supposed to put the stepchild. Adding a person who is not your child, the child of your father, the child of your relative, the child of whatever you are paying the school fees. Oh, I can just help with the person, I can go together in America. No. Unless otherwise you have done illegal adoption. Out of that, you add the wrong person, you are going to be disqualified for the visa. That is another reason why you are going to be denied the visa. Reason number 7. Criminal record. If you commit a certain type of crime, that's why they need police clearance. You'll be in trouble. Reason number 8. On the medical part, in most cases, you are not going to be denied the visa because of the medical. Most of the things they want to see if you have vaccination or blah, 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 blah. And the big part is medical on the part of tuberculosis. If you have tuberculosis, you have to be treated before you come. Because in the United States, there is no vaccine for tuberculosis because it has been eliminated. So they want to make sure that before you come here, you have that tuberculosis. When the medical part, if they come to find out you have certain type of mental illness, which is very possible to cause the mass shooting and all those crazy big things happening, that can be a big thing to be interpreted on whether can be admissible or not be admissible. So there's aspect on the type of medical which can be able, you have to establish and you can ask for the waiver to prove that you cannot have certain kind of things which can cause certain kind of behavior which is prone to violence. And the other one is, number 8, is the issue of social media. What do you post on social media? When you are going to, you have won, you are going to apply either it's the normal student visa, whether it's tourist visa, whether it's immigrant visa for green card lottery, you are supposed to add the list of all the social media and the phone numbers you have used in the last 5 years, whether they are active, whether they are not active. So on the social media, maybe you are not a fan of Donald Trump and you made a comment about harming the US president, or you are not supportive of Joe Biden. You post the comment, oh, these people that have delayed the green card lottery. I can go and you make a comment about threatening to harm the US president. Obviously, that threat will be taken into very high consideration when they are doing the background, because they can put your name, your social media, they can see a digital footprint of everything you have ever commented there. So if you have posed a threat to the national security of the United States, you can be denied the visa. That is up to you. And the last one, on the interview itself, let's say you are going to the US Embassy to the interview and you are wearing maybe a t-shirt, someone is stepping on the US flag or banning the US flag. So there are certain things like they can show like to the consular that this guy will be a bad guy in America, will be a threat to our security. So there are certain things on how you can be able to do. Out of those, you are guaranteed to be given the visa. So once you win the DV lottery, that's why they give more people. In DV2021, they selected 133,000 winners. DV2022, they selected 119,000 winners. But at the moment, before they increase, it is 55,000 visas to be issued. So for that particular case, there are so many people to be denied the visa. So don't be the one by avoiding unnecessary things which can be able to do that to cause you win and you are going to be denied the visa. Let's say you don't have the passport, you don't have the even temporary passport. Don't apply. Why are you going to apply? You know for sure you're going to be denied the visa. You'll be paying your medical, paying the visa fee. They are going to deny and you're going to be upset. They're not returning those money. So those are the things you need to understand very, very clear about the reasons to be denied the visa despite of winning the diversity visa lottery. So don't make unnecessary mistakes. Avoid all the mistakes in all costs. Thank you so much.